Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I never want to watch Darcy Vendy fight regionally ever again. I want him to go away to the UFC now, please. Go away. Go away. There's no one left, in my opinion. No one left. Go away. No way, there's nothing left to prove. Darcy Vendy overcame a lot of adversity tonight from an incredibly game and incredibly skillful and incredibly talented and hardworking Blair Bratag. And if Darcy Vendy's on a 6-fight win streak and he's got 7 out of 8 finishes, if I've spoken about it with him, the take of like him fighting for the title was really like the coming out party for Darcy Vendy. If that showed that he can get into a firefight and knock someone out, that's what that showed. If he showed off, the grappling ability when he submitted Matt Myers, this fight showed that Darcy can hang in there and won't quit at adversity and will keep coming forward and will keep fighting. And it also proves that in a way he only really needs one shot. Because the reactions, my reactions, I did a live stream of my reactions to this card. That'll get posted on the Instagram probably in like a week. Or a couple days. Bro, I was blown away. Blair looked fantastic out there as well. Blair showed up. He threw fast, heavy combinations, dropped Darcy twice, cut Darcy over the eye, next to the eye. Blair Bratag absolutely looked like he belonged in there. And so did Darcy Vendy. And Darcy Vendy walks out. And still, he changed his name from the usurper to king. And I think that really is what he is at this time. If you guys have heard me, especially over this week, talk about the middleweight division in Oz, I talk a lot about, from my perspective of someone in Victoria, I feel like middleweights, there's not heaps of guys in it. And so, because of that, I don't mean to be looking over anyone or there's a clear guy that someone else can see, but I don't think there's anyone left for Darcy to fight. And I mean it lovingly. But I never want to see Darcy Vendy fight regionally ever again. I would like Darcy Vendy to go on now and graduate from the scene. I described his last victory as it felt like the ending of the movie. This was maybe the post-credit scene. But when it's time, it's time. And I don't know what that opportunity is. I don't know how that cut is next to his eye. If that can heal up in time, or it doesn't need stitches or whatever. Last week in Contender probably sounds good to him, I'm sure. That was a fantastic main event. A fantastic fight, a back and forth fight. I really can't overstate how good of a fight that was and how great both guys did. Darcy ultimately getting the rub and coming away still with the belt. The belt remains at the Brisbane Fight Centre. Matty Iann is your new interim eternal bantamweight champion in a fantastic performance. Matty didn't look a moment out of place. Excuse me. Sorry, Matty. Don't mean to burp during the breakdown. He didn't look a moment out of place. He looked fantastic out there. I described him in the Across the Ditch episode. I said he's got good striking, but he's primarily a grappler, and I think he showcased that tonight. But I didn't realize how good his striking was. He was so well rounded out there tonight. He blended both fantastically. Very, very impressive. 3-0 with the belt, fighting Kuya Ito to unify the belts in September at Eternal 98, I believe they were saying on commentary. He is definitely one to watch in a division where it kind of is looking for a king at the moment. It's kind of looking for one guy to separate himself out. I think Matty Iann did a very good job at doing that, and putting himself out there as the guy. Ethan Mitchell and Oscar Marlowe put on... I had this picked for what I thought would be my fight of the night, and God, that was a war. Ethan Mitchell gets his first win at Pro, and by God, did that guy earn it. Over his last 2 fights and that fight as well. Oscar made him work for that. Oscar put himself out there too. You know, he put it all... They both left it all out there on the line. That pace was barbaric. That pace was insane. Dude, I was gassed out watching him, and I was sitting here on the live stream, and I was gassing out watching him. But that was nuts. Ethan Mitchell and Oscar Marlowe are 2 gentlemen who should hold their heads very, very highly. That was a great fight. For a fight, from a pure fight perspective, I think I made a good pick in saying that was the fight of the night. However, there is one further down on the card that we will talk about that I also think is in contention for that. Ben Watson comes back after, I think they said on commentary it was a 5-year layoff. I think that was accurate. Maybe 6. I think 2019 was his last fight. Looked great, was on the back foot for a little bit of it. Yuki looked fantastic. Shout out to all the Yuki stands in my stream, bro. Yuki's got a good fan base. They were out in droves in the live stream. But he went out there, was on the back foot for a little bit of it, but as he mentioned in the post-fight, remained calm, breathed? Yeah, breathed is the right term. That sounds right. And comes away with the technical submission victory. Yuki's elbow looked like it dislocated. At first I was like, what happened? I don't think it did, but then on the replay, it looked like it dislocated. That looked bad. Ben says he's going to stick around, which I'm very happy to hear. You know, he said he wanted to put the division on notice, reintroduce himself to the bantamweight division. As I just mentioned, that's a division that could use some thickening, could use some more people in there. So I'm very happy to see Ben Watson back. I hope it's not 5 years between now and his next fight. Quinlan Kelly, another hectic kind of firefight for as long as it lasted against Farhud Kalatbar. Quinlan Kelly went in there, bit down on the mouth guard, ate some shots, gave out some shots, and came away with the first round KO. Intense ground and pound, dude. He was dropping those elbows. Farhud looked like he wanted to instigate in some of the grappling, but ultimately he ended up biting down on the mouth guard and throwing too. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Those are 2 gentlemen who, out there tonight, lived by the sword. One lived by the sword, the other one died by the sword, but no one actually died. Everyone gets to go home. But Quinlan Kelly picking up a very legit and a very impressive first victory for himself. That was very cool. One in the correct column for Quinlan. I'm sure he's very happy to be getting that first victory. Now this the second pro fight, that was Paddy's pick for fight of the night, and honestly, I think you could kind of argue that at how high level it was. Yusuke Sato versus Randeng, a 1-0 versus a debutant, did not look like that. That was a chess match. They were figuring each other out. That was very high level. That did not look like 2 guys who had one pro fight between the 2 of them. I did say on just before it happened, I went, Sato probably wants to keep that hand up, and then Deng hit him with a beautiful right down the pipe, dropped him against the cage, and ultimately gets the TKO. Big victory for Randeng. I hope to see him get back in there. a new big contender at lightweight. Oh, sorry, a big prospect at lightweight. We'll use the prospect word. I'm not gonna throw him to a title at 1-0. I'm not gonna do that to him. I'll let him continue his journey further before I say the word contender. Prospect, big prospect, which we already knew, but still, nonetheless, incredibly impressive. And then Jackson Ware White gets the 10-second KO, which I don't know what you can say about that. I don't know what you could say about a 10-second KO. Outside of he's okay and he wants to fight again soon, I would like for him to fight Sam Miles. Sam Miles is coming off a big victory over Nate Law. Those two were meant to fight, and then that didn't end up happening. Jackson Ware White, Sam Miles, fight each other. That sounds cool to me. John Aiello. Aiello. I think they were all saying Aiello. I'm going to say Aiello. John Aiello. Dominant victory on the prelims. I think it was 29-28 times 2 and a 30-27 in there. Good to see him back in the cage. I'm glad he got to share that moment. He's always a funny character. And it's always awesome seeing him go out there. AJ also looked great out there. Two guys who deserve to be that closing prelim spot. Either of those guys could go pro, and I'd be happy with that. I wouldn't be upset either of those guys going pro, or if they want to do maybe one more. But go pro, guys. I really feel like you guys are both good enough. Some crazy finishes on the prelims. Overall, good night of fights. I'm glad I watched them. I hope if you did that you are too. I think it's time for Darcy to leave. Brackets lovingly. It's very weird. It's very weird to be like, I never want to see you fight regionally again. Brackets positive. You know? But I hope he understands what I mean by that. I think he will. I think he'll get it. They're making Tell Dana shirts because people need to tell Dana. Next week, Eternal 97, I'll be doing a live stream again if you want to go watch that. Also, tomorrow, video with Eugene Behrman comes out. Please watch it because I'm very proud of that one. But I think that's the next guy up at middleweight. I really do. I'm looking forward to Matty Iann versus Kuya Ito. That will be very good. Ethan Mitchell versus Jet Fisher, ? I don't hate that. I might do a who we should book, who should fight who. I might do that tomorrow or something, if depending on what people want. If you want to see me do that, let me know. Good card. Everyone should go out there and hold their heads proud. Subscribe to the channel. Bye.